1968, the year Apollo 8 launches and makes its orbit around the moon. The Fair Housing Act, which prevents housing discrimination, becomes law. The White House hosts its first and only fashion show. And the year of my grandma's 18th birthday, in which she wore this dress made by my grandpa. The shift dress, a garment reinvented multiple times throughout fashion history, regaining major popularity in the 60s. A simple yet elegant dress cherished by my grandma. And this is my attempt at recreating it. After a few mock-ups, of course. I decided it would be easier to combine two patterns. By using the front and back pieces from both the vintage pattern and the halter top pattern, I could create a design that closely resembled my grandma's dress. As for the fabric, a polyester satin and matte close enough to match the silk and cotton of the original dress would suffice. And with everything ready, it was time to begin tracing and cutting the fabric. I traced and cut two front and back pieces before moving on to sew both bust and back darts. Making sure to tie a knot at the ends to avoid puckering, helping to give the dress a bit more dimension. I then moved on to the seams. Sewing the middle and side seams, pressing and repeating the steps with the lining fabric. Once the seams and darts were done for both the shell and lining fabric, it was time to join the two by placing them right sides together. While making sure to match the side seams, I pinned and sewed along the armhole edges. Then the dreaded zipper, which I pinned and sewed on the shell fabric first before turning the dress wrong side out to sew the lining, making sure both shell and lining fabric were right sides together. As for the neckline fabric, also a satin polyester, I traced and cut two pieces before adding interfacing and hand sewing the beaded trim and button to one of the pieces. After the trim was done, I then sewed the top and sides of the collar along with a button loop, making sure to leave the bottom open, which I then sewed to the dress. A bit more hand sewing on the back of the collar using a slip stitch would close it up and create a nice invisible finish. And last but not least, the hem. I sewed the lining hem first and then moved on to the shell hem, which I hand sewed with an invisible hem stitch. Though it was quite a struggle, I managed to complete it and learn a few lessons along the way, which will definitely be helpful for the next project. So with that said, I'll see you on the next one.
Hello, abuelo.
Te acompañe.
Bendición.
Esta mamá que estás cosiendo como loco.
Mira, a ver, para enseñártelo.
Ahí está. Está tu abuela.
¿Ves?